The Warriors capped what was already a terrible shooting night with their third loss of the season, and almost another injury. From the opening tip, as anyone else who watched the game could see, the home team's shooting woes continued, while the Trailblazers seemingly couldn't miss any of their shots, all of which were coming in from deep. The score quickly multiplied and the Warriors were in a quagmire. We tried to stage a comeback at one point in the second quarter and at another point in the third, but the writing was already on the wall. As the results began to sink in, Wiseman seemed to sprain his ankle as Curry outmaneuvered his defender. A loss and yet another injury is not how the Warriors wanted to start their homestand. Hey, what's happening everyone? This is Swish, and today I want to talk about the Warriors vs Trailblazers game on New Year's Day. The Warriors just can't seem to catch a break. As if the franchise wasn't punished enough in 2019 with the injury of two superstars in the finals, we ended last year with a 15-50 record and another two season-ending injuries. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney have all been injured within the past couple of years, sometimes multiple injuries. And this was our entire starting lineup. Despite this spate of bad karma, it would appear Lady Luck still isn't finished with us just yet. While on a fast break with Curry, Wiseman rolled his ankle as he tried to stop on a dime to avoid crashing into Curry. This night is simply a microcosm of the whirlwind year and a half the Warriors have had. This is without even mentioning the severe shooting slump of all of our offensive players. Yes, this includes Steph Curry, who went 9 of 20 from the field and 4 of 12 from 3. Kelly Oubre was 4 of 12 overall, and Wiggins was only slightly better with 5 of 12 from the field. It's one thing to not be hitting your shots at the start of the season though, I get that. I strongly believe the shots will start falling as these guys get more in rhythm. But injuries are a surefire way to fall out of the running for a playoff spot. Thankfully, however, James Wiseman, as it turns out, is fine and he only tweaked his ankle and should be back on Sunday. I think the unfortunate shell shock of the Trailblazers became a bit discouraging. That first quarter surge was the first of a 1-2 punch that stunned the Warriors as we had no answer for CJ. When the Trailblazers staved off the second run by the Warriors in the third quarter, with Dame making just about everything he threw at the basket, the team had just about lost all their confidence. To add to that, we had no floor spacing, so guys couldn't drive and get many points in the paint. The low percentage shooting's negative impact had doubled the potency and made life impossible for Wiseman and Oubre to operate. Much respect to the Trailblazers, their guys knocked down their open shots and they seem to be ready for the season. So what do the Warriors need to get ready for this season? Because we clearly aren't. And how do we manage our injuries and start getting our shots to fall? Guys are playing well below their typical level, so how do we fix that? The truth is, there is no easy answer to these questions. Not one that will give us overnight results anyway. A team's number one priority is the availability of the players. If a player is injured, that is an absolute disaster. There's nothing you can do about that. It's better to lose a game than a player's availability. Steph Curry shouldn't be in the game at that point in time when it's clear we can't stage a comeback. Steve Kerr needs to be aware of this, as injuries in garbage time to one of your starting players is one of the worst things that could happen to a franchise. With our luck this year, it isn't surprising that almost happened to us. The final score tonight, 123-98, is eerily similar to every other loss we've had so far this year. What I didn't particularly like about tonight's game was that we didn't have particularly good ball movement. Steph was very good off a screen and catch and shoot, but he had only a couple of those. The majority of his shots seemed like he was pressured to take them, as he was the only shooter on this side of the court. This caused Portland to look at us as a one-man show and would either come out and double Curry on the perimeter or stay in the paint if the ball was out of his hands. Kent Bazemore certainly could have gotten more minutes on the floor, as he was the only player that was efficient from 3. I think Kerr should be more active in regards to putting Bazemore on the floor for Oubre. They are both left-handed ball-handling forwards that provide good defense. We don't want Kelly to lose confidence, of course, but not at the expense of losing multiple games when we have a viable option sitting on the bench, at least in a temporary fashion. Draymond's first game back wasn't without its teething issues. While there are still signs of the Dre we're used to seeing, he's going to take some time before getting up to speed. For someone who is such a crucial part of our offense and defense, him being injured changes the game for the Warriors a lot, and it's the same with him coming back from injury. The rest of the team doesn't have the same chemistry as Steph and Draymond, so while working his way back to form, Dre will have to contend with learning to play with the guys in the rotation, as they learn to play with him. Toscano Anderson had a similar showing to his last game versus the Pistons, though if he's filling in a role similar to Draymond, he will have to be mindful about turning the ball over. His production off the bench, as I said last time, still has room to grow, and being only 5 games in the season, he does have time on his side. Pascal was very efficient and managed to match up well against the other centers on the offense. There was a little game Kerr was playing with Stotts, and Stotts wasn't having it. Kerr attempted to exploit matchups by pitting Pascal against Kanter, one which proved very successful as Kanter had no response for Pascal, which caused Kanter to get pulled. Wiseman provided a good matchup, the best matchup we had for Nurkic, so Stotts switched his rotations to ensure that Kanter was on the floor with Wiseman and Nurkic was in with Pascal. Overall, Pascal provided some good minutes and seems to be taking his game up another notch. He might be a little on the slower side, but matches up well against bigger guys. Wiggins seemed to at times disappear, and I was shocked to see he was actually on the floor for 33 minutes. While not as bad as his worst game, this performance tonight wasn't much better. It seems with Draymond on the floor, Wiggins gets the ball in his hand a lot less. The only starter we have currently that can play off ball is Steph, and he's the point guard, so this might be an issue, at least until Kelly's shots can start falling. I've seen that Kerr has tried to experiment a bit with the lineups, running Curry and Mulder, which is a lineup I wanted to see. However, it wasn't done to the extent I think the Warriors would be able to benefit. I think until Kelly can get his shooting together, he'll be better coming off the bench behind Mulder or even Jordan Poole. With Draymond in the lineup, we need shooters, and a shooter with good size is even better. I say let Poole get the start with Curry, let Curry play off ball and have Poole and Draymond as your primary facilitators. Kelly can run the second unit with Mulder and Wanamaker. Wanamaker and Toscano can run plays for Mulder, with Kelly on the weak side for slashing and Looney for size. They can switch Looney for Pascal as the small 5 to exploit certain matchups. All in all, our guys could be a lot better. If we can stay around the 500 mark till guys find their rhythm, we could make a strong push for a good spot in the playoffs. If their performance ends up never reaching the potential of the group we have, we'll likely make the play-in tournament, and it would be a tough uphill battle from there. In tonight's game, we weren't getting much on the boards, and we didn't lock down on defense like we did versus the Pistons. It was a perfect storm of events that led to defeat that doesn't accurately represent the team and how it matches up with the Portland Trailblazers. If Dame and CJ shoot like this every game, they'll be in the Western Conference Finals for sure. That said, we do see these guys again on Sunday, so let's see what we learned from tonight's game and see if we can implement it in Sunday's game. And that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Don't forget to give it a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and click that notification bell so you get my latest videos as soon as they're available. Till next time, swish.
A block so hard, sweetie get served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved.
Usually I don't get down with these girls, but tonight it's on my mind, so I might eat these words.